The murder so brutal, even investigators were disturbed. True crime documentary. It started with a quiet knock at the door, an ordinary sound in an ordinary neighborhood. But what police found when they entered turned a normal day into a nightmare. The kitchen looked normal at first glance. A stove with a pan, a table with scattered papers, and a softly humming refrigerator in the corner. But when an officer opened that fridge, he thought he was seeing meat, raw, butchered pork, neatly stacked on the shelves. Then he reached into the vegetable tray. That's when the horror became real. Inside were two human heads. One belonged to a man, the other to a woman. Their skin was cold and lifeless, their eyes empty. The rest of their bodies, limbs, torsos, had been carefully cut apart and arranged like slabs of meat on the shelves. And strangely, the rest of the home was spotless, as if someone had scrubbed away every trace of blood. Investigators arrived and quickly realized this wasn't just a murder. Tools were scattered around, a claw hammer, a saw, and other instruments that had clearly been used to dismember the victims. The medical examiner later confirmed what even experienced detectives found shocking. The couple had been killed, organs removed and flushed, then their bodies cut apart with precision. Upstairs, a locked bedroom held the final mystery. The couple's son was missing. Inside his room, investigators found dark clues, a blood-stained saw, locks smeared with what appeared to be dried blood, and signs of a calculated, methodical plan. Whoever had done this had prepared carefully, knowing exactly how to kill, dissect, and disappear without leaving obvious evidence. And then, just like that, the suspect vanished without a trace. Police were left staring at a home that looked ordinary, hiding one of the most brutal crimes they had ever seen. The question hung in the air. Who could commit something so monstrous, and where could they have gone?
The city was on edge. Every news report, every passing car, every shadow seemed to whisper the same terrifying question. Where was the son, the main suspect in this nightmare? Investigators combed through every corner of the house again, retracing every step, hoping for a clue that could break the silence. But the deeper they looked, the clearer it became. This was a criminal who had thought of everything. Detectives spoke to neighbors. Everyone described the family as quiet, polite, almost invisible. No shouting, no fights, no warning signs. The parents had lived there for decades without incident. The son, though, was something of a mystery. He kept to himself, rarely seen outside. No one could recall him having friends over or going far from home. The more investigators learned, the more it became clear this was someone who lived in shadows, someone capable of hiding dark thoughts behind a calm, ordinary life. Meanwhile, outside the city, small hints began to appear. A gas station clerk remembered seeing a young man matching the suspect's description, buying supplies, gloves, large trash bags, bleach. A cashier at a convenience store recalled a man asking questions about remote rental cabins far from town. The pieces of a trail began to emerge, but they were faint, like fingerprints smeared across fogged glass. Back in the house, forensic teams worked tirelessly, examining every inch for evidence: fingerprints, hair, fiber, anything that could give the suspect away. They found subtle clues that spoke of careful planning. The cleaning supplies were used to erase blood, the tools meticulously cleaned, even the trash bags burned and disposed of outside the city limits. Whoever did this had not only killed and dismembered his parents, but had done so with a level of precision that left investigators unsettled. As days turned into nights, the investigation intensified. News crews swarmed the streets. The city's quiet neighborhoods felt unsafe, as if anyone could be hiding secrets behind a calm face. And then, one chilling discovery changed everything. A handwritten note found in the son's abandoned room. It was cryptic, full of rage and confusion, hinting at plans no one could yet understand. The note suggested that what had already happened might not be the end. The detectives stared at it, pale faces lit only by the flickering lights of the room. They realized the nightmare wasn't over. Someone had vanished into the shadows, leaving behind the most shocking evidence imaginable. A gruesome crime scene, a family destroyed, and a note that promised the horror could continue. The search for the suspect had only just begun, and with each passing hour, the tension grew. Where was he hiding? What would he do next? And who, if anyone, would survive this chilling trail of violence? The hunt was on. Police spread out across the city and surrounding areas, checking every abandoned building, every rental cabin, every wooded path. Every lead was pursued, every sighting investigated. But the suspect remained ghost-like, always one step ahead. The city felt smaller, darker, as if the walls themselves were closing in with dread. Then, days later, a breakthrough. A hiker in a remote area spotted a small, hidden cabin near a stream. The door was slightly ajar, smoke curling from a chimney. Inside, the smell hit immediately, a mix of decay, chemicals, and fear. The sun was there, pale and silent, surrounded by evidence of meticulous planning, notebooks filled with obsessive notes, tools scrubbed clean, and items packed for what seemed like a long escape. He had been hiding, always watching, always waiting. When officers finally confronted him, he did not resist, but his eyes were empty, and the calmness in his voice was more chilling than any scream. "It had to be done," he said, almost whispering, as if revealing a secret no one could understand. In that moment, detectives realized the truth. This was not a crime of passion or anger. It was a carefully thought-out act of cold calculation, a nightmare executed with frightening precision. The aftermath shook the city to its core. Neighbors struggled to comprehend how a quiet family could be destroyed in such brutality. The parents, friends, and relatives mourned, haunted by images of a horror they could barely imagine. And investigators, seasoned and hardened by years of seeing the worst in humanity, admitted even they had been disturbed. The meticulous cruelty, the complete lack of remorse, the way evil had hidden behind ordinary walls, it lingered in their minds long after the case was closed.
The son was arrested, charged, and later convicted, but the story did not end with the courtroom. The city learned a painful lesson about the darkness that can hide behind familiar faces, behind calm streets, behind the doors of homes that seem ordinary. Even today, the Icebox murders remain one of the most chilling crimes in American history, a case that proves some horrors are too calculated, too brutal for words. And for anyone who hears the story now, the question lingers: how well do we really know the people closest to us? Which shocking true crime story do you want us to cover next? Comment below and let us know. Your suggestion might be our next investigation. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss our latest true crime stories.